Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Second and Nine podcast. Today is Thursday, October 3rd, and we're going to talk a little bit about stuff we're taking away from Week 4. Pretty surprising week with some of these games, especially the Bucks Rams. Before we get into it, what's up, Tony? How you doing?
Not much, man. How you been? I'm ready to talk about that. That was crazy. We both lost big. I lost 2 knockout pools on that game, and a couple bets too. All my parlays pretty much had Rams in it. And it was at some different level, like maybe -3, -7. And they got beat up.
Yeah, dude, it was pretty insane because I told you before I put money on that game, and to see them just not stop a nosebleed, it was insane. I thought that game had Aaron Donald all over James Winston, like written all over that game. And I thought that they'd turn him over 2-3 times. I was shocked how easily they moved the ball. Chris Godwin went off in that game.
He's good. They have some good weapons. They have really nice weapons. Honestly, I expected 55-40.
The other way.
Yeah, that would have been really. I would have expected that. I mean, the Bucks could put up some points, but
I would have covered.
The Rams defense couldn't stop anybody. It was surprising. You know what's interesting? You talk about. I just thought of this because you made fun of me for displaying the Eagles and the Cowboys Madden ratings and putting them side by side to compare. I was playing against my nephew in Madden the other day, and he was the Rams, and he was saying he was making substitutions, making sure there was no injuries. He was saying, "Wow, the Rams defense is not that good. They have all their players are really low rated, and their defense looked pretty low rated this week."
Yeah, it was a very, very interesting week, especially since I've been talking of Eric Weddle as the signing of the offseason for how cheap they got him.
But that's not. I mean, that doesn't. You don't look stupid for that. He's a beast. Eric Weddle's a beast. I mean, the defense got beat up, but I mean, Eric Weddle's still a good player.
I think that's the state of the league, though, right now, because a few of these other games were pretty surprising. That before we leave this game, was there any concern that you have in Jared Goff? I know we've had that Dak-Jared Goff comparison before.
I mean, I think Goff. I think Goff is what he is. I think he's probably a better passer than Dak, but I mean, we get into the Dak conversation too. I think Dak, Wentz, and Goff are really easy to compare. The same way Rivers, Manning, and Breeze are really easy to compare. They're all from that same draft class. They're all starters in the league. I mean, at the end of the day, who's had the best coaching out of those three guys? Not Dak, for sure. I mean, Wentz is coached by a Super Bowl champ, and Goff is
right.
Yeah, Goff is coached by one of the best coaches in the league too. I mean, Goff, he struggled a little bit, but I think he is what he is. I don't think he's great. I don't think he's terrible. He's right in the same Dak range, top 15, top 12 quarterback. He's solid.
Yeah, I would agree. I think I would rank Goff maybe one spot ahead Dak. I think they're that close.
Yeah. I think maybe one spot below Dak now.
Yeah, I wouldn't move that quickly because I mean,
Danny Dimes, you're ready to go all in, but moving Goff behind Dak one spot, you're not quite ready for that. Pump the brakes on that. Danny Dimes reading them defenses though. You're all in on that, pushing all your chips. This guy's like Peyton Manning out there.
Oh man, the way that you exaggerate everything that I say sounds so enticing. That's why this podcast is so good, right?
You do. Look what I'm holding in my hand for some reason. It's on my table. You do that to me. I feel like you do that to me too all the time. I'm sure it's just.
Of course. That's just like it's like flexing a muscle. It's with the Cowboy fan. It's always automatic.
I'm a very reasonable Cowboy fan.
You are.
I definitely didn't call Dak Dimes day one. I'll tell you that.
Dacky Dimes. Yeah.
Dacky Dimes.
I'm not hating on the nickname. I think Cowboy fans will. But let's move on. Let's move on to the next game now. We've got New England, Buffalo, another pretty close game. We had Buffalo Phil on the podcast last week calling for a Bills win. It was going to be the biggest win in a decade at least for the Bills. But, I mean, they showed a lot of fight. We were talking about before.
They got an interesting team.
Yeah, and we were talking about looking ahead to this upcoming week. They go to Tennessee. This team's got a real defense because I was saying it right before we went live. Like Tom Brady, have not seen him that shut down in a long time. The way that game went, and they went out ahead 13-0 very early on in the game, and so basically were held to 3 points for 3 quarters. Yeah. So I mean, they showed a lot of fight. It's just Josh Allen. I mean, he ended up getting hurt in the game, but They're having a little bit of struggle on offense, but it's funny. Maybe their offensive MVP right now is Frank Gore, old man Frank.
Isn't that crazy? You know what? Going back to Josh Allen, I was listening to someone talk about him, and they're saying similar to what we were talking about with kind of like with Wentz and Watson. He's going for it on every play. He's just slinging it out, trying to make a big play on every play. Sometimes it's got to be like a little Danny Dimes, you got to check it down a little bit, hit someone across the middle for a shorter pickup and move the chains and keep the chains moving.
Yeah, I think they were the Pats were probably hurt a little bit by Edelman getting banged up because he's that guy for them. But especially I think this is going to be a big week for the Bills because in previous years, if they've gotten off to any sort of a good start, they fall apart quickly as soon as they lose. And, of course, they got New England at one of those times. It's almost like a make-or-break point of the season, even though it's this early on, for us to really see if the Bills are
they have 2 wins?
A playoff team.
They have 2 wins?
3-1. They started 3-0. Last week it was the battle of the 3-0s.
That's right.
So I think it's a big
test. All right. They'll be all right.
Week.
Yeah, if they can win this week, they'll be in a lot better shape, though. You're right. Big difference between 4-1 and 3-2.
Yeah, and I think one thing that Josh Allen, if I had to give him any sort of advice, I think he should just be true to what he is right now. He should be running the ball. He shouldn't try and take a lot of contact, but running the ball is going to open up things I think for their offense because they'll
pick up a couple slide.
Well, it's gonna force the teams to start playing more zone. So if he's got guys that actually can beat some man-to-man coverage, I mean he could find some guys downfield or on short outs or slants. So he's I think they gotta work with him a little bit on the offense. But the defense is just a bunch of rabid hyenas.
They're a tough team, and like you said, even better in Buffalo. When they're playing in Buffalo, they're a tough team to beat. Don't bet against Buffalo when they're home. Learned that a long time ago when the Tony Romo 5-interception, 1 fumble game when they came back and won late. Lost $200 on that game. Never bet on my team again.
It wasn't the Patrick Creighton game?
No, that was wow. You got to bring
that was a legendary time. That's almost up there with the helmet catch.
It really is. It propelled you guys to a Super Bowl just the same way.
Oh, it was amazing. After that,
after he talked
the
shit,
chirping, the chirping by Creighton, that was great.
He wasn't a bad player, but he was an idiot. All people, why are you talking crap?
Yeah, I mean it's typical Cowboys. But let's move on before we get to the Cowboys game and the Saints game, which was
what's your dying to talk about?
A nail biter. Yeah, I was on the edge of my seat for that one.
I'm sure you were they gotta fucking lose. Oh, that was bad. That was a bad curse.
Yeah. We'll get into that one first. Giants and Skins.
Yeah, Danny Dimes.
Danny Dimes and the defense making plays. We got Peppers from Paramus Catholic, New Jersey, taking interceptions to the house. It was it's exciting to watch. I can't wait.
Terrible decision
this weekend.
Absolutely terrible decision by Haskins to throw that ball.
Yeah,
terrible.
I mean, you know how I feel about Haskins.
Yeah, you love him. Don't you still want him over?
Now you're making stories up now.
You said you'd take him 1 overall. I thought.
Yeah, that's what I said. I remember saying that. We have it on camera.
He was pretty bad. He looked pretty bad.
Yeah, he wasn't that. And
Keenan,
I don't even want to spend time talking about him. I don't. You know how I feel. I think that the talking point is Daniel Jones. He threw a couple picks, but he's going to make mistakes. I just like the fact that he's looking like he's starting to be able, as you said and made fun of me for, read some defenses. He's gonna throw picks. He's gonna have his struggles at times, but the fact that at the end of the day you have to put up points, and the defense isn't great, granted, but if he's throwing and contributing and making it a big difference in their scoring offense, it's gonna make a huge difference for the team, because we were talking about it before.
Possession.
Just the fact of the possession game, when you're on the field a lot more, it makes life a lot easier for your defense. And it was extremely evident in the Bucs game, because they went out there and they were running them ragged at the end of that game, and that's why they were able to come back against the Bucs. And you saw they were able to sustain that defense and hold the Redskins that entire game. So obviously those aren't the best teams, but
that's one of the things that we were talking about before. I mean, the competition is going to get a step up this week, especially the defense that Daniel Jones is going to face is going to be a lot tougher. And honestly, I'll say this. I didn't see the game on Sunday. I actually just watched it today. I watched it on the NFL Game Pass, and I watched the coach's film version of it. And the more I watch Daniel Jones, honestly, the more impressed I am by him. And I will say that I'm not ready to go so far as you do. I'm not saying, like, again, I'm not saying he doesn't read defenses, but I don't think that's really going to be his strength at this point. Like, I think one thing I'm super impressed by him is his ability to move around the pocket and also just throw in traffic. He, like, again, I was telling you this. There was at least 7, 8, 9 times during watching that game. I'm just like, if it's Eli, he's taking that sack. There's no way Eli's getting that ball out. There's just guys around Daniel Jones, and he's still slinging the rock. There's guys around Daniel Jones, and he's bailing out, spinning out, getting in position to throw the ball. If incomplete or not, or complete, he's making plays with his legs and not taking sacks. An incomplete pass is a great play instead of a 7-yard sack. I mean, it's a huge – these are like small things that he's doing that – are really like it's evident that he knows what he's doing. I mean, there's no way two ways about it. I think at this point, I think we can start to find his floor. Maybe we can start seeing where his floor is, and his floor, I think, is going to be a Jared Goff type solid NFL quarterback. I think that's established already. Now, saying that he reads defenses, he made some bad throws too. I mean, it was cover 3, and he thought the safety was the corner was going to keep bailing, and it was pretty clear it was cover 3. It was like his guy was coming across the middle. There's 3 guys in zone. They bit up on the play action, dropped back in their zones, and the guy slipped underneath the throw, and I think it was to Shepard, and he slipped underneath for the pick. So he's going to make mistakes, and like you said, but he looks solid. And like I said, and I get what you're saying, and it's very valid because I was making the argument that you would destroy us Cowboy fans if we came out with Dacky Dimes after one regular season game. But I can understand why the Giants fans want to be excited about this kid. I can get down with it. I'm not.
So you're on board now.
No, I'm just not a hater like you. I'm just predicting that I know you would have hated if you heard the Cowboy. You made fun of the president being Zach Martin's nickname. Like, that's not even a whack nickname. There's nothing wrong with that, really. I don't see anything wrong with it. But to you, that's corny. It's Cowboy fans being super corny. But I mean, Danny Dimes. Some people did tell me though. Some people did tell me that Danny Dimes was his nickname for years. It wasn't just now. So that made me feel a little bit like it was a little less, maybe a little bit less corny to come out with Daniel Dimes off the bat.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, speaking of corny, I think by text I did get about at least 3 or 4 corn emojis talking about that whenever Danny Dimes was brought up.
No. Well, the point was that you would say that if it was the other way around. That's what I was trying to get at.
So you're just working at a way different level, like, of comedy.
No. It's not that. It's just I did think it was you hear a nickname for someone that's not on your team. And, you're kind of – I was like, oh, yeah, whatever. I'm saying, like, it's like, you roll your eyes at it. But when you're the fan of the team, you're into it a lot more, right? So,
yeah.
I just want you to have that same, I want you to reciprocate that same energy. You know what I'm saying? Like, just be okay with it. We call it Dak, Dak attack, like you said the other day. The Dak attack.
Yeah. I mean, that was just a troll.
Off the top.
That was relatively creative. I'm honestly surprised that Cowboy fans haven't come up with it yet.
I mean, there's been a million. Dak to the future.
Oh, yeah, sure. Is there like a whole society of like Cowboy Twitter, where it's just like everything Dallas Cowboys or actual people who are Cowboys?
Can I just tell you this? There is a society for everything on Twitter. There's nothing that there's not. There is Twitter.
You see my Twitter handle. You know which one I'm in.
Yeah. Bitcoin and trolling.
Yeah. That's hilarious.
There is a Twitter sphere and like a little Twitter bubble for every type of person that there is.
Yeah. It's funny how, I never noticed that. And I'm having not an epiphany, but like realizing this now, like as you're saying that, which is like pretty funny.
There's Twitter for everybody.
I think the Giants, we got off topic a little bit, but I mean, the Giants game is what it is. It is a big game this week. I'm going to be there seeing Danny Dimes in person for the first time. So
nice.
It's going to be, I think, an interesting.
Get some good picks. Get some good picks in the podcast. Yeah. They could definitely win, but this is going to be a tough defense. Minnesota's a pretty good team, and the Giants defense. I wanted to say that too. I didn't see the game live, like I said. I was talking to some of my friends that were Giants fans, and people that I respect. Like, I respect their opinion. Like, this one kid on my Facebook who was like arguing with someone else, and I'm going through all the. I'm like reading like 300 different comments back and forth between some random people on the internet's arguments, but that's neither here nor there. But this kid's like a really good football player. I respect his opinion, and he was saying, "Oh, the defense balled out." So I'm expecting to see the defense balling out. I'm watching it, and the defense didn't play that good. The Redskins were terrible. They missed a couple. I mean, Case Keenum missed at least 2. Open touchdowns. Should have been walk-in touchdowns, and would completely change the game too. It was early in the game. It was like 7-0, I think, when one, and I think it was like 14-3 when the other one happened. So if they hit either one of those, it's a different game. Mind you, the Giants got that pick 6 too to score, kind of late in the game too to kind of pull away, because the Giants offense didn't really do the job as far as like pulling away from the Redskins to finish that game. It was that pick 6 by Jabril that really sealed the game, really pulled it away. So there was that. I don't think that's kind of why I'm going to go with Minnesota when we go make our picks, because I'm not as confident as in the Giants defense is going to be able to stop them. I would definitely bet the over in this game though too. I think it's 46.5. The Giants are going to score at least 20 points, and I think the
43.5.
43.5. Yeah, it's pretty low. The Giants, I think, are going to score at least 20 points. I think the Vikings can score 30 on the Giants defense, so we'll see.
Yeah, if the Giants score, or if the Vikings score 30, I think the Giants are in trouble. But,
yeah,
the Giants.
Now, the Giants got to hold. What do you think they got to hold them to? What would you say the Giants have to hold the Vikings to win, to be competitive? What do you think the Giants can put up? Like 27 is their ceiling? So what do you think? They keep them under 24, 23. They're in pretty good shape.
I think it all depends on. It honestly is going to depend, I think, more on the defense. I think the defense, if they get a couple key turnovers in a game where Cousins throws a couple of picks, or like
he'll give you a couple
that'll
chances.
change the game, and he'll give them extra opportunity. I don't think 27 is out of the realm of possibility. I would say I'm leaning more towards 21. Not necessarily as their ceiling, but maybe I think what they can.
What they'll get it, yeah.
Okay. So if they're gonna have to keep the Vikings below 21, which it's going to be tough because their defense.
They might cover. Good, if they score 21, they may cover. If the Giants score 21, they might cover, right? But
yeah,
I don't know.
It's a 5-point spread in that game. Giants +5 at home. They've been inconsistent, but it's something. I think that I'm taking the points in that game. We'll talk about the picks in a little bit, but
it's not a bad move.
Yeah,
I have been wrong before, so that's from Deuce Bigelow. Going
back to Deuce Bigelow.
Asking whether or not that's a dude or a girl. He's like, I think it's a girl, but I have been fooled before.
Man, the comedy's firing from all cylinders.
Bro, there's no one watching. We're good.
That's true. All right, so move on from week 4. Let's do.
You do nothing else you want to touch on the Browns-Ravens game?
Browns and Ravens.
I thought that was pretty interesting. The Browns finally showed up, finally lived up to some of that hype they've been getting, because they beat a good team. The Ravens, I didn't think they were going to beat the Ravens.
Yeah, Baltimore is a weird team. Everyone's jumping off the bandwagon already.
I know, I saw that.
You don't know what to – that's why –
Browns are talented, though. Browns are super talented. They have a lot of defensive players, too. They don't just –
Myles Garrett is –
he's a savage, bro. He's a beast.
Yeah, that's a tough game to call. I think RJ Bell was saying he would lean. Actually, you know what? I don't even remember who he would lean. It was a close call. I think it was more so just saying Baltimore is not necessarily real. Yeah. And basically talking up
I liked their
Steelers
defense
actually this week too. That was one of my picks this week.
Steelers look pretty. I just couldn't understand how they were doing what they were doing last week against Cincinnati. Cincinnati's a bad team too, and then it's just you see how they ran their offense. Those little tap passes, that was insane. Jalen Samuels actually might be a fantasy relevant player because he's going to be completing passes.
I would give that another week, possibly, or maybe another few weeks to confirm that. But James Conner's a good running back. You got to he's probably your best offensive player.
He still got the ball a lot.
He's got to be getting the ball a lot because I think he's pretty dynamic. He's pretty light on his feet. He's not the biggest running back, which makes it easy, but
Juju had 3 points. I played him in fantasy. He needed 6 to beat me.
Yeah, he's been struggling. I thought that he was going to – even though I didn't take him in fantasy, I thought that he was going to take
me too. I thought
forward.
I thought he was going to do good, but once he lost Ben, it was really tough. That's going to be tough for him.
Actually, with Ben, though, he wasn't doing anything.
Yeah, you're right. I actually made my team name Jew Lost because I didn't even see it happen live. I fell asleep, and I woke up in the morning, was shocked to find I had won that game.
Oh, that's hilarious.
I was just trolling that kid because that kid actually made me mad the other day, so that's why I was trolling him.
Everybody gets mad in fantasy football for some reason.
Yo, well, how is like I want to talk about this on the air? How is Stewie's team so bad? Team dumpster fire. He's never bad.
Yeah, it's one of those years. His team literally is a
dumpster fire.
A team version of like that meme that's like the dumpster on fire in the water, just like flowing down the street.
It was.
It's surprising to see, but it's also a little refreshing to see.
I was gonna say
he's so good. Am I a bad guy for saying that?
That was the exact word I was gonna use. I swear to you, I was about to say refreshing. That was next level. That was next level connection right there.
Yeah, no, because he's always good. Everyone's always frustrated that he's good at it. But let's. You brought up the Browns game before. Like, what do you want to take away from the Browns? You just want to keep like kissing Odell's feet?
Odell did nothing though. Odell did nothing.
Well, he demands a lot of attention.
Yeah, he does. But he did. I had him. I think he had like 3 points. He did nothing. Baker hit everybody but Odell. I think I didn't actually watch the game, so I can't comment on that. But it seems like maybe they did doubled Odell, and everyone else was just eating but Odell. See how long that lasts with him being happy.
Yo, I didn't know that Chubb had that kind of like
80
breakaway speed.
Yeah, he's fast. 80.
What are you about to say? You're about to say Madden speed?
No, I said that 88-yard run. I meant to say.
I thought you were about to say 88 speed.
I have some of my dad's Italian accent that just gets stuck sometimes in my mouth when I'm trying to speak, so I start just mumbling words. I'm sorry.
Understood. Yeah, but that 88-yard run was I didn't know that he could run like that. So I was kind of confused why he was ranked so high, like in fantasy and being like a first-round draft pick. That was like the guy in the first round that I wanted to stay away from.
Yeah, really? I mean, I would have taken him at a point, but yeah, you didn't love him over like Dalvin Cook or those guys, but I mean, or even really, he's better than. He's better.
People like Chubb over him though because people took him over Dalvin.
Really, I don't think I
would in our league. Well, you had what? I think you had the 12th pick.
12th, yeah.
Yeah, I like Dalvin this year. I mean,
I like Connor better than him too. I like Connor better than Chubb, but turns out I think Chubb's probably better.
Well, we'll see. It's always overreaction every single week. Right. We got to do it for an extended period of time. That's what I've always said about Dak.
But Chubb is good. Chubb is a good player. But Dak's been doing it, man. Look at Dak's record.
He's doing it, but let's win these big games.
I mean, come on. No one's going undefeated. I mean, what's the difference? Like, you act like you literally, like with Dak, you hold him to such a different standard than you hold him to everyone else. That's what I can't understand. Why does Dak –
He's the Cowboy quarterback. He's held to a different standard.
Why?
Because he's on the Cowboys.
I mean,
that's just how it is.
So we're holding
America's team.
We're gonna start holding Danny Dimes to that because this is the greatest city in the world's quarterback. I mean, this is important.
All right, give him a couple years. I think he'll be fine.
How many's a couple? Dak's 3 years in the league. You've been doing this to him forever.
Well, Danny Dimes has played 2 games.
Yeah, and you're already anointing him as the next coming up.
I did not anoint him anything. Like I said, we're excited as Giants fans.
You got we
have not had good quarterback play in a while.
You're doing that they do at church with the baptism water. They're just flicking on. You're just doing it all over Danny Dimes. You're giving him a.
I can tell you go to church every week.
I do. I definitely do. A big church going.
The holy water.
Yeah. Definitely.
Oh man. Let's dive into like the games that we took this week. So, All right, we're doing that pick segment. We're gonna have an update on the next episode with how we're both doing and what our current records are. Last week was not good for me. No, it wasn't good for you either. It was bad, I mean, the Rams game I think hurt me the most. But
and one of us is not going to do good this week either because we have a lot of different picks this week.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. One of us could pull away potentially or close the gap.
Unless we split, and then we'll both suck.
Probably the case. All right, so let's start. Instead of going Dallas last, let's do Dallas first. Looks like the primetime game this week is Green Bay and Dallas Green Bay.
It's in Dallas. It's at Dallas.
Oh, excuse me, in Dallas. I'm looking at the wrong thing.
Green Bay's getting 3.5. It's the late game. I thought it was a 4:30 game. It's the game of the week.
4:25. Yeah,
it's the game. I'm assuming
that's the primetime game. Yeah.
Oh, okay, the game of the week. Like Troy and Joe Buck will be there. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna go. Packers. I'm just going to take the 3.5 points because I think if the Cowboys do win, it will likely either be by field goal. I thought that I don't. It's not that I don't think the Cowboys could cover. I could see the Cowboys covering, but I could see the Packers. Honestly, this game can go so many different ways to me. I think Zeke's going to have a solid game, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. So I'm just going to go with the Packers and get 3 points.
Yeah, I'm going to do the same. I mean, we talked about this a little bit before.
I wouldn't bet this game, though.
I'm definitely thinking that this is going to be a close game.
Yeah.
I think the Packers may win it by 3. Packers money line. That's what we talked about that before.
Yeah, it's not bad.
A little bit appealing, but I think Dallas is a tough enough team that they can win this game. But I don't see it being by more than 3 points. So I feel like if I'm getting 3.5, Dallas takes it by 3. I think I'm good.
Yeah,
so, I definitely like that. I completely agree with you. Let's hop over to the Giants game. So Giants at MetLife against the Minnesota Vikings.
So you have
horrendously recently.
I'm sure you have Danny Dimes carving him up for 300 yards and 4 touchdowns.
I'm looking at Danny Dimes put up about like 250, throw a couple of touchdowns. I kind of have a feeling that Gallman's gonna score another one this week, which is killing me like in fantasy because I should have had him. But I think that the Giants are gonna cover. I think it's gonna be a close game. I mean, the Vikings are good enough to beat them by more than 5, but the way that Kirk Cousins is playing right now, it's a problem. And the fact that Adam Thielen's not getting the ball and now he's speaking up and being a diva wide receiver, it's kind of an interesting dynamic. It's either going to turn into Stewart's team or it's going to get resolved completely and he'll light it up this week.
I was listening to Maggie and Bart on the radio at some point when I was driving around different times during talk radio. And they were talking about a podcast that Kirk Cousins actually does. I think it's called Under Center. And they broadcast it on the Vikings website and everything. And he does a podcast, and he had Adam Thielen on. And they had like a guy there mediating it, the whole interview back and forth with these two. And Kirk Cousins is like kind of like apologizing. And actually, it might have been Anita Marks, not and they were talking about it or whatever, and they were saying they weren't even looking at each other. They were like mad serious. They were very serious, and they're just like looking complete opposite directions. Like they're not making eye contact, and they're like, and Kirk Cousins is like kind of like apologizing for not thinking. He's like, yeah, you're right. We do have to be better. And it was a little real super awkward and stuff. And I just thought that was a really funny story that they actually have a podcast that Kirk Cousins himself does on the team's website.
That's hilarious. Honestly, I didn't know that was his, that he's on regularly like that. And
because you heard him on it before? I haven't heard him on it before.
I heard like a little clip of it, and he's just basically saying that he's got to get the ball to him. And I mean,
you saw the whole actually clip about that? I got to listen to the whole thing.
Yeah, I didn't listen to the whole thing, but I heard that main clip, and yeah, it's an interesting dynamic. Like I said, I think it's going to go swing one way or the other, but drastically, he could do absolutely nothing. Or I'm afraid for the Giants' sake that he's going to go off this week.
Yeah. Similar last week, actually, too, like with supposedly the Redskins were talking about firing Gruden if they lost to the Giants. They didn't end up firing him, I guess, though. But I guess that's why he made the switch in quarterback. But yeah, kind of the same kind of thing I was feeling last week. I could see the Redskins either rallying around their coach or kind of falling apart, and they kind of fell apart. So same kind of concept. Maybe Minnesota could either rally behind Kirk Cousins or fall apart. So we'll see.
Yeah, I think their defense is good enough that it'll keep them in games.
It's going to be the toughest game for Danny.
They're like they're a team kind of like the Falcons to me. Like they have
Falcons, what's wrong with them?
They're weird. And they're just not putting it together right now. You got to think that at some point they're going to figure it out. That's why I'm afraid to like bet some of these games because there's so much uncertainty and parity in the league right now that anybody can beat anybody.
A lot of these games are tough. Yeah, honestly, this week I think is a good week to just maybe pick a few underdogs. Just if you hit one or two of them, you'll be all right. I mean, I even kind of like the Cardinals straight up this week.
Straight up on the road.
Yeah, I think they're gonna get a win.
I would say I think you're taking crazy pills.
Why?
I could not trust the Cardinals at this point.
I mean,
I'm the guy that has Kyler Murray on both of his fantasy teams.
Yeah,
that's one thing. Actually, you brought it up before. One thing that I should bring up actually about that game, and the only thing that concerns me a little bit is he's making those mistakes right now, and obviously he should learn like as he gets better because I think he's got a ton of talent, but he's making those mistakes where he's, for example, like you said, you got a quarterback that's turning like in Daniel Jones an 7-8 yard sack like into an
an incomplete or a 3-yard
makes
pass.
a huge difference. And I've seen Kyler Murray a handful of times already make a play where he's scrambling out and he gets basically cut off of the corner, and instead of throwing it away, he runs out of bounds and loses and takes like 3 yards or whatever. And those type of things are things that like rookie quarterbacks will make the mistakes, but that's something that's got to be corrected for me to start trusting them, because I think once he figures it out, I think their offense is going to be pretty damn good.
They don't have
he's
much,
still got no, he's got weapons, man. Like
but they don't
David Johnson is a stud.
Bro. They don't have a team. They just
well, they don't have an offensive line, but I don't think the defense really matters in terms of like him like putting up points for the team, because you want to see them put up more points. They're getting too many I guess chunks of the game that they're not producing any offense at all. Like they're going.
He's always having to scramble and rally late. He's done a good job.
But he's another guy that he's got to take more advantage of like the running room. Like when he sees it, like, man, he's got to take off. I know he doesn't want to get hit by a 260-pound linebacker, but at the end of the day, if you play smart and you just take your slide or whatever, like you'll be fine as long as you're aware of your surroundings. And I think he's playing a little bit too much where he's expecting to only like be a thrower. He got to be true to like what's worked for him so far, and then as he gets better, he'll develop more as a passer. So
I don't disagree with you, but kind of opposite to what we're talking about with Josh Allen. We were talking about he needs to kind of do the same thing and take advantage of his legs more and run more. I think right now the Arizona Cardinals are not really going to what are they going to win 3 or 4 games this maybe the whole season? They're going to be a top 5 drafting team this year regardless. So this
is the week.
You don't want to. This could be the week. I mean, if you're going to win, it's going to be against Cincinnati Bengals. I think that's their chance. I think they're probably circling that one on their schedule.
I would say that's one of the games to be had potentially, especially how bad they look this week.
I mean, right now they're working with just Boyd and their receiving core. I mean,
AJ Green I think should be back pretty soon, but
I got him.
They're not. They just lost John Ross, and I'm hoping it helps if Tyler Boyd. But Tyler Boyd looks like a guy that needs AJ Green on the field to take some attention away.
But he's been solid. He's been real solid.
Yeah, I don't think he scored a touchdown yet, though. He scored a solid amount of touchdowns last year.
It's tough to double a slot. It's a little harder, and then in the red zone, it's probably a little easier to cover the slot up because it's tighter. So that's probably why he's not producing without AJ Green as much.
Yeah, agreed. All right, let's go on to the next games we picked. So we took. So you made your pick with the Giants Vikings game?
Yeah, I have the Vikings minus the 5.
So you got the minus 5. Okay. All right. So next we're going to let's go to. I'm taking the Philadelphia Eagles negative 13.5.
And I'm with you on that.
I'm trying to look for them. I'm like, they're all the way at the top. I think especially without Darnold, the Jets are a bad team.
Yeah, really bad.
I see Wentz going off this week, even though the Jets defense has looked decent this year.
They're around too.
I think, especially if Deshaun Jackson plays, that'll be another big weapon.
Is he back? Is he back?
He hasn't practiced yet this week. But this is Thursday, so it's getting close to probably be labeled as doubtful for the weekend.
It'd be good if he played, because I'm tired of hearing the excuses from you when Carson Wentz doesn't have all his weapons. I'm tired of hearing all the excuses. I mean, Amari's hobbled.
I'm investing in fantasy too, so
Michael Gallup's been out. Amari's hobbled right now. He's got a bad foot, but I'm not. I don't hear you. I don't hear you. Yeah, but he can't get separation. He couldn't. It didn't look.
Alshon Jeffrey can't either, and he scored touchdowns.
No, Alshon Jeffrey looks good. Looked good this week. He looked fine this week. Seriously, though, Amari.
He didn't get open.
Amari looked like crap.
He had 3 catches for 38 yards
and a touchdown. He was wide open.
Move on the.
He was wide open on that touchdown.
Yeah,
Amari couldn't get any separation though. He just couldn't. But I'm just saying. I'm sure you. I'm sure you're right.
Excuses are already rolling out after the first loss of the season. I can't imagine like when you guys get knocked out of the playoffs or don't make the playoffs.
It's not even a matter of excuses. I'm not making excuses. It's just I'm letting you know that I hear your excuses about Carson Wentz, and I want to point out to you that you're not making those same excuses for players like Dak. Who.
Bro, I'm a Giants fan. I hate the Eagles. I don't have the blind allegiance to Carson Wentz.
I know. I'm not
Carson
saying
Wentz is a good quarterback. He's got a ton of potential.
But you got a lot more respect for him than you do for Dak, and you give him the benefit of the doubt where you wouldn't give Dak the benefit of the doubt.
Well, because at this point, I think the upside for Wentz is way higher than
And
Dak. So
I
guess I'm trying to make a prediction into the future.
I agree. I agree. The Wentz's upside is better. That's why he was the number 1 pick in the draft, and that's why Dak was a 4th round pick. I mean, that's usually how that works.
No, Wentz was 2nd, right?
Was he second? Oh, Goff was 1.
Goff was 1, yeah.
Oof,
that was an interesting week. But yeah, I don't think there's
that
much to talk about for this game. Eagles.
Could you imagine the coach with Wentz? Could you imagine McVay with Wentz?
Yeah, he'd be lighting it up, especially with they have like possibly the best receiving core in the league. They don't have like a superstar receiver, but
they're good.
Cooper Kupp's really good.
Their O-line
Woods is really good.
Their O-line's real good too. Their O-line's real good.
Yeah, and you got old man Whitworth still pushing people around.
Yeah, too bad.
Still one of the best left tackles in the league, and the Giants could have had him. Now they paid Nate Solder, and now I'm impressed.
In the rival New York days, I had that in that season. I had Giants signing Whitworth and drafting Kamara. That would have been nice. That would have been a nice combo, guys.
Yeah, Kamara would have been nice.
No, but you got that man right there.
All right,
he's running. You saw Barkley's running already.
Yeah, I did. He's a freak of nature, Barkley. It's guys like that, and that's kind of what you were alluding to, I think, with Melvin. So you're making me lean just keeping him and then in that league. So,
I mean, it's a tough decision. Getting Zeke is he's pretty consistent. He usually puts up big numbers every single week. So
yeah, for the audience, this is basically a trade offer that I got. That's Zeke and Adam Thielen for Melvin Gordon and Devontae Adams. Which is especially with the injury right now with Devontae Adams.
Oh, Devontae got hurt?
I'm in a must-need win. Well, he had a turf toe, and he got taken out of the last game. He had like 10 catches for 180 yards or something like that.
Then you should pull the trigger on that then. That makes sense. Makes a lot more sense.
I don't know if I think I can get away because I think I can get away with it this week because the guy that I'm playing, his team's also not good either. So I can probably get away even if he doesn't play. I picked up Geronimo Allison, so I think he's a definite alternative. I got D.D. Westbrook too.
Well, we did pick the Cowboy game actually.
Next are our the 2 extra picks that we get to take. So non-Jets, Giants, Cowboys. The one that I was looking at was Pittsburgh. My eyes always open wide, and that's rare. They always open wide whenever I see a home team who's a dog. And I know the Steelers have looked horrible at times, and then last week they completely dominated a bad team. But the Ravens are kind of slumping a little bit, and I think getting 3 points at home against the Steelers. I agree with R.J. Bell from the guy that does the spot on the Michael K show about the sports gambling. Buffalo Phil came on last week and called out the Steelers, and honestly, I hadn't really thought about them last week, and he completely talked me into it. And I do think the Steelers are a better team than the record says. Mason Rudolph is another. Again, he's just a rookie. I think they have tools. I think the trade for Minka Fitzpatrick was a pretty big deal. I'm not saying that they're going to win the division, but I think in this game at home, division game like this, it's going to be close. I'll take the 3 points.
Yeah, their defense is actually pretty good, and Mason Rudolph's not too bad. But I think the Ravens are going to bounce back this week, though, in a big way. I think they're going to pound the Steelers into the ground. I think they're going to win a pretty close game, but I think that they will cover the 3 points. I can even see a push in this game too, Ravens winning by 3. But I'm going to go with the Ravens. I'm going to go opposite for you. We're actually opposite.
So you're taking this game?
Yeah, I am.
Okay, interesting.
Both games you picked, I picked the opposite that we have on our own too.
Actually. I like it. I get to get up another game on you this week.
One way or another, someone's going to go up.
Yeah, why don't you just bet on take the Cowboys? Take your team, take your squad.
I'm gonna stick with the 3 points.
I think you're going contrarian just because
you
don't want double sorrows.
Can I have the Cowboys minus 2.5?
No, you're not trying to beat the system on me.
I mean, you can get if you really want me to switch. There you go.
No, we'll stick at that. We can both get the right pick.
Okay.
My 5th game is 49ers -3.5. This was one of the other picks that RJ Bell was talking about, and I tend to agree with him here. I think the 49ers are sneaky good. Their defense is solid, and I think Jimmy Garoppolo can only play better than what he's played, like to the level that he's played, because he hasn't looked that great. I think the kid has talent, and maybe they're a team that could make a move for a Stephon Diggs. I think that would be a great fit for him, and that would help the offense a ton because
they have so many receivers, though. I mean, I think he'll help them, but they just drafted so many guys.
Yeah, but none of them, I don't think, none of them are on the level of Stephon Diggs.
No, they're not. But
I think he would go in there and be like the
number one,
the guy gobbling up 8 to 10 targets a game, and then that could open up some things for Kittle, because Kittle's another beast too. Yeah, he's had a rough start to the season. He got 2 touchdowns called back in week 1, I believe it was.
That's crazy.
I think he's ready to have a big game. So I can see him scoring a touchdown and going over 100 yards this week.
And I'm again gonna go. I'm gonna go opposite with you. And you actually gave me some pause when you did, bring it to my attention that it was in San Francisco, games in San Francisco, and the Cleveland's got to travel across country, and it is tough to do. But I'm gonna go with the hype squad. I think Odell's gonna have a decent game. I think the Chubb's gonna have a nice game.
Hype squad.
I'm not really buying into the Niners that much. Maybe I have to see more. We'll see. But I'm not crazy about them. They haven't.
You know what the hype squads historically do? They usually just
hype and lose.
They're usually just hype. Yeah.
Like
so I need
remember the dream team? Remember the Eagles dream team?
The Eagles dream team.
Yeah.
Remember the Cowboy teams every single year?
Oh, stop. No, you act like the Giants aren't hyped.
The Giants are not hyped. The
Giants have been hyped.
Quarterback, the young quarterback is hyped. That's what it is.
No, what I'm saying is in past years, I'm not talking about even this season. I mean, there is a lot of hype around Daniel Jones right now, but that's not the point. Daniel Jones deserves a lot of hype that's about him. But I feel like in recent years, the Giants have been really bad for like multiple years in a row. And no matter what, every single year, Giants are given a lot of respect and acting like they're going to be a contending team. And year after year, they have not been a contending team. Like I said, it is what it is. Each year brings its own challenges, brings its own, predictions or whatever. But at the end of the day, the Giants have been a hype team over the years too. It's not just the Cowboys getting hyped.
That's true, but I mean, the Cowboys are the standard when it comes to that conversation. So
the Cowboys, yeah. I like that. I like that you said that. And leave it at that. Cowboys are the standard. I can deal with that.
Are you gonna cut that out?
I'm gonna cut.
That's a good one.
I'm gonna definitely. I didn't even think about cutting it.
You know what we're gonna do? We're gonna do an eating crow segment where I'm gonna play a little crow like squawking sound, and then we're gonna play a bunch of our clips on stupid stuff like bad calls that we made.
I'm gonna do one better, and I'm gonna make a song. I'm gonna make a song of you with just like clips. You ever seen those when people put it to a beat and make a song?
Do it. I'm gonna make one of these, and we're gonna do a segment. Whenever someone's emphatic about something, and you get it wrong, you're gonna eat crow, and the other person's gonna get to play the drop, and then you gotta explain yourself.
We had have like a Game of Thrones theme to it, with all the crows coming in there.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Maybe the Night's Watch of Crows.
The Night's Watch of Crows. That's not bad. But we shouldn't give all the ideas out on air.
Yeah, 3 or 4 people might see it.
Let's wrap up then. Tonight we actually have the Rams Seahawks. Before we go, let's
you want to pick that game real quick?
Let's touch
off the record.
Touch on this game. Yeah, let's off the record pick this game right now. I'll let you go first.
I think it's a tough game. It's in Seattle, so I would probably go with Seattle minus the 1.5. But I don't think I would bet on the game. If I was going to put it, I wouldn't put more than $5 or $10 just to have fun on this game. I wouldn't bet on this game. I don't trust it. But Goff's not as good on the road, and Seattle's a real tough place to play. I'm gonna go Russell Wilson. I think he's gonna have a big game too. I have him in fantasy. I think he's gonna have a nice game. Chris Carson could do me a favor too and do something this week. That would be helpful.
This is a perfect bounce back opportunity for the Rams too. And you know that I've been on the Rams bandwagon, but I'm kind of leaning with you, but I don't think I can do it. I think it's going to be a really close game. I think the Rams could pull it out. I would take the Rams.
I'm excited to watch it.
But it's a game that I would not want to touch betting wise. But I would lean Rams because I think that they have just as much of a chance to win this game.
Yeah, maybe if you got a little bit better odds on if the spread was like 3.5 or 4, you can go Rams money line. Then I can do that. But
Yeah, Vegas is basically saying
Not worth touching it.
Rams are a better team because the home field is
yeah, and home field in Seattle is probably worth 4.
Yeah, you're probably right. Yeah, that's a tough place to play. All right, so we got our picks for this week. Last prediction that you want to throw out there for week 5. Any players that you're looking to see have a good game or a ball out like Darren Waller, who I'm not necessarily going to say that he's going to ball out this week because they're playing against Chicago, but
Darren Waller is really good, man. I got to give you a lot of credit for Darren Waller because I got him late in my league when you were like talking him up, and I just picked him up. I had OJ Howard already. I was like, I got OJ Howard. I don't need this guy, but I'm gonna have him on my bench.
OJ Howard, yeah.
I took him,
and I got Evan Engram. And it's funny, both of my teams, I have Engram and Kittle. And Waller's like my flex of both of my leagues. That's how much volume he's getting, though. I mean,
but he's turning into
like the workhorse.
You can't even look at you can't even in those situations. You can't even really look at it like Waller's your flex. You really, at the end of the day, Kittle is your flex. Engram is your flex. They're really solid guys to have as a flex. You know what I'm saying? Like you're a little limited. I've done that double tight end thing. You're a little limited in your upside and your points when you do double tight end because tight ends usually have a solid floor but don't have the best ceilings most of the time. But when you have a guy like Engram. And that's another thing I wanted to say about that. When I noticed when I was watching the Giants game, that drag route to Evan Engram is really, really tough to stop. He's just such a big dude, and when he's so fast, and when he's got a head of steam, get off the tracks when the train's coming through.
He's he's almost like a little bit of a stockier version of Waller, a little bit shorter, but he's
a lot faster.
Very similar. They're very smooth and they glide.
I think Waller's a little bit more plodding than Engram. Engram just goes. He's more solid. I feel like almost Waller's almost like a little longer. You know what I'm saying? Whereas Ingram's more compact.
Yeah, but both of them are really good. If you compare like their numbers right now to where they're at in the season and the pace that they're on right now, I mean, Waller the only thing he hasn't done is scored a touchdown yet, which I mean,
he's on a bad team.
That could be a Raiders situation there, but
yeah, he's on a bad team. That's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt him all season.
Yeah, but I think he's good enough that it'll come. And even before the season started, Gruden basically said Waller's a special player. We're gonna feed him. And
he's between the 20s. He's moving them a lot between the 20s a lot.
Oh yeah, he's gobbling up targets. I think his worst game that he had I think 6 catches.
They have no one to go to.
He had a 13 catch, 134-yard game, and they even gave him a carry that he took for 7 yards. So you could see the talent that he has, and also the fact that they recognize it too. So I mean, I think they're going to keep getting him more involved in the offense because you can't depend on Tyrell Williams to be like a number one receiver. Let's be honest. Waller's more so. I think there's number one receiver in terms of talent wise, and a guy that can carry that workload. I think.
I'll tell you a guy I think was going to go off this week because you were talking about him and you were talking about trading for him. I think Adam Thielen's going to have a really good game against the Giants.
We were talking about that before.
The Giants' secondary is not that good, and I think actually Diggs and Thielen are going to have pretty good games this week. Even though Diggs, I know, is not happy, he wants out of there. I think they're both going to have pretty good games this week against the Giants. I mean, it's tough. I wasn't really prepared for it. I was trying to think of if there's anyone else. If you want to go, maybe I can try to think of another one too.
Yeah, I mean, I think the other guy that I'd possibly be looking at here is someone on the Eagles. It could be Alshon Jeffrey. I could see him maybe getting another touchdown.
I could see a running back. One of the 2 running backs going off.
Yeah, I mean, Jordan Howard had 3 touchdowns last week. Yeah,
I can see either one of them doing something real big. Put up like 25, 30 points, fantasy points.
I could see the Eagles putting up a 35-pointer this week for the head, so the offense just goes off. So that's why I'm leaning that way.
They're gonna beat up on the Jets for sure.
Yeah,
the Jets suck. I'm just kidding.
Jets are pretty bad.
You can use that. You could clip that because you always call me a Jets sycophant, Jets apologist, or whatever you want to call it.
Listen, you don't have to tell me twice. I'll cut that out as soon as we're done. As soon as I download the video. Anyway, I think we're going to close up shop for the night. Thank you for coming back and watching the 2nd and 9 podcast. Click the like button if you want to subscribe. Click the bell, and we'll be back next time with more 2nd and 9 NFL style. I'll talk to you guys later.